Jim, before we talk about our thoughts on this movie, I want to ask you. So you said that you think you've seen Saw 4. That was news to me. I didn't realize that. I thought maybe you hadn't really seen any of these movies but the original when we were watching them. But I wanted to ask you, if you were watching this movie when it came out and someone told you, hey, there's going to be a Saw 4 next year, where would you expect the story to go? Where would you expect the series to go? Because this is the end. I mean, the villain's dead. Jigsaw's dead. His apprentice is dead. Where can you take the story? Like, where would you expect it to go, or where would you take it from here if you were a writer?
If I was a normal person, and if I was a writer, I would say, hey, let's pick up trying to find this daughter somewhere. And it'll be a police and father joint effort to find this little girl.
So you want more time with Jeff?
No, I don't. But I'm saying
that's
where logically it should go. Right?
If that's Saw 4, we're stuck with that fucking boring-ass character for another movie. I'm not sure anyone wants that. But no, I understand. Because the daughter, you're right, that's... What do you do with that?
From what I remember of Saw 4, isn't it just like they find the tape during the autopsy?
Yeah.
And then it just picks up from there? Like he's like, oh, I've got other games set up, right? Isn't that...
It's more convoluted than that, and I don't want to give spoilers for Saw 4. But yes, that's how Saw 4 starts. And the series eventually goes, there was another apprentice, and then there was like another apprentice, and there was like, so that's where the story actually goes. But I'm thinking, if I were, at the end of this movie, what are the open-ended questions? Where does the daughter go? Or, what happens with the Jeff and the daughter storyline? Mm-hmm. Another question, I think, and I don't think this is the most interesting one to pick up on, but... who is the woman in Jigsaw's vision when he's dying? Who is that blonde woman?
Yeah, now you could have gone...
They do pick up on that in the series, but I'm not sure at this point that's the most interesting thing in the world, but that is a little nugget the film leaves you with, like, okay, who is that? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, Saw 4 could have gone straight to flashbacks, right? Or, I mean, Saw 4 could have been what's the word?
Just a prequel.
Just, thank you, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the most logical... Jigsaw's dead. If we want to make another Saw movie, what did he do before Saw 1? I guess that's probably what you'd do. If you continue from this point, you have to have someone else doing a Jigsaw, whether it's an apprentice. I actually think maybe the more interesting thing could have been a copycat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Kind of go a bit of an anthology route where, like, okay, maybe it's not John Kramer, but he's got people kind of following his ideas and doing, and that's really what Spiral is. And I think the Saw series arguably would have been better if Saw 4 was like Spiral and it kind of just started anew. But I don't know. I mean, you want to give Tobin Bell screen time. You want to find a way to do that because he's an awesome Jigsaw. He's great.
Well, and he's also the only good actor in Saw 3, anyways.
Ooh, I can't say I disagree.
It seems like all the actors they hired were porn stars. That's how good the acting was.
Well, I'm not watching any porn with Jeff in it, first of all. But no, Jeff is not good. I want to say McFadden, but you look at his name, the D comes before the Y, so I don't know if he's McFadden. I don't know what that name is.
More like McFadden.
Yeah, I think he's a Canadian guy, maybe. I'm not sure. Right? Isn't half of Canada... Oh, he is Scottish. Okay. That was another thing from the commentary track. When Darren Lynn Bousman was talking about the actor that played Jeff, he's like, oh, he's this guy. Apparently he's in Braveheart, but he's like this guy. He lived in a few really weird places. Like he had a house in Scotland, and he's like, I think he had a house in Switzerland, and then he had another house in like somewhere really weird. Like he's like, I think it was Geneva or something. Do you know where Geneva is? And I'm like, oh my god, we're watching a film directed by a guy that doesn't know Geneva's in Switzerland.
You know where Geneva is?
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
God, yeah, of course that person directed this movie.
But yeah, I mean, well, he didn't write it. Yeah, screenplay. Oh, Leigh Whannell's not even a co-writer. He has sole screenplay credits and then story by Leigh Whannell and James Wan. Okay. I do know from the behind-the-scenes stuff, though, I think they very much had a working script when they started shooting, and then they, like, all the dialogue, I think, was kind of changed, like, while they were shooting and stuff. So I'm sure the outline was there. But yeah, and I guess another open-ended question, we still, what happened to Donnie Wahlberg?
Yes.
So we see him, he gets into the hallway, he has a fight with Amanda, he survives, but he's still kind of just stuck in that hallway. So if we want to revisit the Donnie Wahlberg thing, we can do that if we want. But yeah, I really do think the most interesting way they could have gone was a copycat route. I know people don't like copycat routes in horror movies. Like, at the time, everyone hated the fifth Friday the 13th movie because it wasn't Jason. It was like some wannabe Jason guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in a series like Saw, that probably makes more sense than just, this other person was also helping Jigsaw over and over again, using that twist.
And a series like Saw, like Tobin Bell's the star, but the real star is the gore and the gadgets and the traps, right? Like,
yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, copycat killer would have been fine, as long as you still have weird traps, and gore.
Yeah. Again, Spiral pulls it off pretty well. They've got some really creative traps, some really downright disturbing gore. There was one part with, like, a guy's fingers being ripped off. That just, watching that in the theater.
I'm not watching that movie. I was about to say I'm going to watch it, but now I'm not.
It's the third best Saw movie, damn it. I mean, that's not saying much. It's maybe the second best.